don't know how they pulled off that fake punt return. If you, I don't know how many of you guys remember the Music City Miracle, but for the Tennessee Titans, but Jeff Fisher was the coach for the Titans at that time. I think it was him that designed that. It took them knowing the punter's tendencies for the Seahawks, and knowing that it was probably going to go to the right. Now you can't really blame. You can't put a whole lot of blame on the Seahawks there because they're not supposed to be looking at the ball. They're just running straight. If you take the time to look where the ball is going, you're going to lose some speed, and he might get away from you that way. I mean, you could have the common sense to look where the guy with the ball is, but not as much blame as you would think. Just great design by the Rams and great execution, but just huge onions for Jeff Fisher to call that fake punt. Johnny Hecker, probably the best passing punter in the league. He's done that before. If you remember, when the Rams tied the 49ers, I think it was 2 years ago, Johnny Hecker, he ran a fake punt again there. He's actually a decent passer. The Rams should have won that game by more, though. If they were up 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. So, and we saw that against the 49ers on that Monday night game. I don't know what it is with the Rams in the second half, but they got to pick that up. And they might actually have a chance in this division. So we're going to move on to the scandal part of the NFL. Ray Rice and his appeal. Roger Goodell is actually going to testify in court. And I, for one, love this because when Roger Goodell is sitting in that courtroom under oath, he's not going to be able to say, oh, we're trying to clean up this league. I want to see what actually happened when he spoke to Ray Rice in his office. If TMZ can get their hands on that video, I would pay good money for it. Snowball, how do you think this is going to turn out with Ray Rice?
I honestly can't tell you. I really don't know. It's just been crazy, and I mean, I think Ray Rice, his suspension is going to get reduced. I don't know how much, but I think he will be eligible to be signed during the NFL season, before the regular season ends. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens because this is going to impact the NFL greatly. As you said, Roger Goodell's under oath, so he's going to have to explain exactly what happened, or maybe he will still lie and be in bigger trouble. But he'll probably have to explain exactly what happened in that room and how he planned on only giving Ray Rice 2 games instead of a year or 10 or whatever. So, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see, but this is going to be very interesting, and I actually believe that Ray Rice will play. I think his suspension is going to get reduced, or he will get an actual suspension because it's indefinite. So he'll actually get a suspension, and I think he'll have a chance to play for a team before the end of the regular season.
See, the thing is, you mentioned Roger Goodell lying. It's not about him lying. I'm not sure if he has lied up to this point because I definitely believe that outside the line story saying that the Ravens front office kind of asked Roger Goodell to be light on Ray Rice, and that's what resulted in the 2-game suspension. I'm thinking that once the TMZ video came out, that Roger Goodell was just thinking, oh crap, they're on to me, better give them a bigger suspension. And then the whole indefinite suspension came out, and the Ravens released him. John Harbaugh wanted to release him when they first heard about it. He tried to release him several times. The organization would not let him. I think there's definitely some shady business going on in Baltimore. And the problem up to this point is not that Roger Goodell has been lying if he has. It's just that he's been tiptoeing around the questions. He hasn't told us what he said to Ray Rice. He's just been saying, we're trying to fix this league. there's going to be greater discipline for players involved with domestic violence and all that. He's going to have to actually say something. Hopefully, it's the truth. So Snowball, one final question on Ray Rice, and hopefully we'll be done with this for a while. If he gets his suspension reduced to, I'm not gonna say before this season ends because that might be a little ambitious. If he's ready to go by the start of next season, will a team take a chance on him? And if so, who do you think it would be?
I think a team does take a chance on him. Because, he had a terrible year last year, but he is a talented running back. And he's good enough to get a shot somewhere, and we've seen teams sign players for worse reasons, like Michael Vick, for example.
That's true.
So, the team I think he'll go to, maybe a team like Jacksonville, I don't know. Denard Robinson's been doing pretty good. Or maybe Oakland. It's kind of tough. We're really not sure. It's kind of just, obviously teams like the Eagles or like the Niners, teams with good running backs, the Bears, the Cowboys, those teams, they're not going to sign. They won't sign Ray Rice. The Ravens can't. They're not going to sign it because then it'd be
John Harbaugh will not allow that at all.
If the Vikings signed him, it would just, if AP wasn't there would just be mayhem. So that couldn't happen. Seattle, he couldn't. Denver, he wouldn't go. Yeah, so he'll go to a bad team probably. If Oakland, I would say Oakland definite, but MJD doesn't have that big he has a decent sized contract with Oakland, so they might, and Derek McFadden's still there, so they might shade away from that. Maybe a team like the Titans. They have no running backs, so that wouldn't be terrible. Or maybe the Jets.
Yeah, I could definitely see the Jets doing that. Not only because I don't think Chris Johnson will last. How old is Chris Johnson again? I don't even know.
I think he's like 28, 29.
Yeah,
probably.
He'll be getting up into his 30s soon. And
he is 29.
He's 29. And also the Jets are that kind of organization who really doesn't care what kind of issues they have. They traded for Percy Harvin. They traded for Santonio Holmes. They brought in Michael Vick. Woody Johnson doesn't care. Neither does John Idzik. And if he's on offense, neither does Rex Ryan. They also are not afraid to run that two running back system if they still hold on to Chris Johnson. They did it with Tomlinson and Sean Green. So, I think it's a pretty good fit for the Jets. A bad organization who doesn't care what kind of issues you have or how bad you are. They took Tebow. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't work in New York. It won't work, but they'll do it anyway.
That's true.
So our final scandal-related topic of the night. We're throwing it back to Joe Paterno. Rest in peace. Thousands of Penn State fans, former players, and even a former university president. The story is from ESPN, by the way. There is a downtown petition near Penn State that is it's basically asking the NCAA to restore Joe Paterno's record 409 wins. So there's this organization right by State College called the People's Joe. They hung up 3 double-sided 7-by-4-foot signs on East College Avenue and asked fans for their signatures for yesterday and today. So their plan is for 3 group officials to deliver these 3 signs to NCAA headquarters in Indianapolis somewhere between November 16th and November 27th. So right now, in the first 2 days of this, they estimate that combined they have over 15,000 signatures. They said more than 100 Sharpies were used for this. Now, personally, regardless of what you think about Joe Paterno and his role in the Sandusky scandal, and regardless of what you think of Joe Paterno, as a person, do you really think that, let's say worst case scenario, um, I don't really know what happened in Penn State. I don't think a lot of people know what happened at Penn State. Let's say absolute worst case scenario, he had a huge role in covering this up. Does that really take away from the fact that he won 409 games? We're acting like the man used PEDs. I mean, we took away all of USC's wins from Reggie Bush. They took away all the Fab Five's wins because of Ed Martin. Why does a child abuse scandal take away from what happened on the football field? It had nothing to do with players enhancing their abilities, or, I mean, I'm against this too, but, like, it didn't even involve, recruiting violations.
Yeah, because, Nick, this is something bigger than sports.
Yeah, I understand that, and you can punish the organization, and you can punish Joe Paterno, but why does that take away what he did on the football field?
I think we need to know what truly happened. And I think the NCAA feels like they need to, they need to take away his wins for now. Because they don't exactly know what happened. And, when this all came out, this really put a shame on the organization, on the whole school. So I think the NCAA felt like they had to do something about it, because if they didn't, they would look really, really bad. So they felt like, take Joe's wins away, and once everything's all sorted out, and we're not going to know probably exactly what happened, maybe for another year or two, as people are still investigating what is going on, what actually happened, what Sandusky actually did, what was the scandal, all of it, who covered it up, who knew, who didn't. So it's all going to take. It's going to take a while, and I think the NCAA feels like they got to take away the wins for now until they know exactly what happens. Either they're going to keep them away or bring them back into the NCAA record books.
Honestly, I really doubt that the NCAA is going to revisit this, regardless of these petitions. And like you said, taking away the wins for now, I don't think they'll consider come 2 or 3 years, even if we know the truth, restoring these. Because then you would have to look back and say, oh, SMU, maybe you didn't do such a bad thing. Maybe we should give you back your wins. Or, USC. Reggie Bush, he didn't do anything really that bad. Let's give you that 2005 Heisman back. The NCAA isn't going to care about this. And I understand this is a sensitive subject. I'm not trying.
Now, it didn't take all his wins away.
That's true.
They took away about.
It was from 1998 to 2012. So now
they're saying he technically has 298.
Yeah,
they took a few away from Bobby Bowden too. Actually, I'm not sure why for him. Yeah. Did he have a scandal too, or he? It might have been. I think that actually might have been an academic thing.
Yeah, it was academic violation.
Was an academic scandal, right?
Yeah. So I mean, he does still have 298 wins. But to say, and like I said, I'm not trying to justify Joe Paterno's actions at all. I don't know what happened. I'm not at liberty to speak about that. But to say that just because Jerry Sandusky did these horrible things, that everything the football team accomplished in 14 years doesn't count because of that. I just don't understand that at all. I mean, I understand taking down the statue because it's a reminder of that. But to go in the record books and erase 111 wins, what does that do? Honestly. So, I doubt this will do anything, but it is surprising for the amount of people who are against everything that happened with Joe Paterno everything that happened within the university in two